There's been a lot of talk about a royal feud between Kate and Meghan, but without a palace insider, it's hard to know for sure, unless you're a body language expert like Suzanne Masefield. She's been examining the footage and she joins us now. Good morning.
Morning, Hayley.
So from your expert opinion and perspective, are they having a feud, Meghan and Kate?
I don't think there's a feud, but there's certainly some differences of opinion. And there were quite a few indicators way back, actually before Harry and Meghan got married, at the Heads Up conference, when they actually talked about their own disagreements. And the body language was very interesting there.
We actually have some graphics from this that you were just talking about. We've got a picture now of Meghan, and what's happening here?
Well, the interviewer actually asked, were there disagreements? And what happens is the two duchesses look opposite. They look at Harry and
so they look away
William.
from each
They look
other.
away from each other, and then she puts her hand over her face, and she actually has her hair over her face. So there is a level of embarrassment there, which to me suggests that she may be a big part of the disagreements. And as she's quite opinionated, that seems quite likely, I would imagine.
Kate seems quite relaxed and comfortable in it. She's just watching Meghan sort of...
Well, she looks relaxed on the surface, but actually if you look at her hands, they're clasped very tightly. Meghan has her hands sort of in her lap, and so she's quite relaxed, but Kate's actually clasped very tightly, and she has her left leg, her right leg behind her left leg, which means she's actually holding back and keeping tight control, although she's composed on the top.
We've got another graphic here, and this is the moment that Meghan reached out. To us, it looks lovingly, like a loving partner, but what is she actually doing?
Well, you know, it is mind my back. It's definitely a pacifier, and it can be a dominating aspect where, you know, he's very protective over her, and some of that may be because of what happened with his mum, but she's definitely saying, you know, I need your attention, I'm here. You know, we're talking about disagreements. She definitely seems to be a part of that equation, and it does seem to be between the two women as opposed to anything else from what William was saying.
So we've got one more graphic which we'll have a quick look at, and this is to do with how open they seem. So they're smiling at each other, but they're not. Their bodies aren't really turned towards each other, are they?
No, and they don't turn to each other very much in this interview. And again, you see Kate is, I mean, she's quite pregnant at that stage, so there's always a vulnerability at that stage anyway. Her arms are quite close to her body, and she's got her hands quite tight on her lap, but Meghan has her arms open. So she's quite happy to take up the space. You know, she's used to being in the public eye, whereas Kate's a lot shyer.
So we've got the footage of them all. They're swinging around. They all look a little bit uncomfortable, don't they, really?
Yeah, totally. Well, they're being asked about disagreements, you know, and Harry says, well, you know, if being in a family is challenging, and it is challenging, and they've had the honeymoon period, and at this stage, now they're trying to work together, and there's definitely differences. You know, Kate, at one point, she has her palms up and she says, you know, I really want us to collaborate together. You know, we've all got our own opinions about things, but it's good to have us collaborating together, whereas Meghan is more interested in diversity of thinking, having mindset and change. So it's quite different. You've got the traditional versus, you know, change and push through. Quite different personalities.
So obviously, with those different personalities and with all the pressure that they're obviously under, are these tensions going to grow, or do you think that they might be able to get over them and actually become true friends?
Well, I think it's like any family, if you think about it. It's all going to be about whether they're going to work together. If they can acknowledge their differences and work out how they can work together, you know, on the surface of it, they're going to show us a united front. I don't think them moving to another palace is a big deal, to be quite honest. I think it's actually probably good to have a bit of breathing space. They're very different couples.
Absolutely. How powerful is body language? Can you get people to like you more just through how you hold yourself?
You can, and it really is about being open and being ready to connect. You know, we connect a lot on social media, but actually in person, people feel quite uncomfortable, particularly if they're actually sort of using social media all the time to interact with people, and then they go and meet someone, and, you know, it's sort of, ooh, it's all a bit... Because when we're on the computer, we close up, and that's a low power pose. So that actually increases our stress levels and lowers our testosterone levels, which is our confidence. So the more you can be open and particularly over Christmas. You know, we're going to have different things happening with families, different cultures coming together, people you haven't seen for ages. So it's really good to think about being as open as you can, taking breaths, going for a walk, you know, having a bit of connection time with yourself before you start trying to deal with great Uncle Harry who's giving you a bit of a
great
poke.
Uncle Harry's so annoying. Thank you very much for your time this morning, Suzanne Masefield. You know, there's one thing that I always sort of seem to do is kind of that.
Do you?
It's like, that's not very good body language. It's like, oh yeah, I'm listening, but I'm not taking it in.
That's like front row of the like school photo or like the rugby team photo or something.
Is that what do they do there with the arms?
Yeah.
Oh, you like that?
Exactly, yeah.
Mate.
As Suzanne just said, face-to-face conversations are on the decline. What has everyone being so antisocial?